Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. It's week 9 in the NFL. We're doing our regular spot with Doug Upstone, false favorites, and top underdogs. Doug Upstone, thanks for being back with us.
Peter, I'm glad to be back here once again. And we're getting to that point of the season where there's going to be a number of large favorites. And in this week, I couple that one's a false favorite, and the other one I got an underdog play. So we got some really interesting things. I think there's an opportunity to pick up a few more winners here.
All right. Well, we got San Francisco, Seattle, and Cincinnati, all double-digit favorites right now at the moment. Let's see if any of those make your list this week. Doug Upson, what's your first false favorite for us?
Oh, the one made the list, and you are absolutely right on Seattle. Now, the last week, the Seahawks, off 2 straight losses, everybody thought, football bettors, handicappers, etc., thought they'd be sharper than a Ginsu knife at Carolina. Instead, they came out flatlined once again, looked terrible, were lucky with a come-from-behind win. So if that's the case, going back home against the worst team in football, what do you think the chances of Seattle bringing their A game? I say not very good. I think they're just going to go through the motions in this particular game. Once again, I think this team has just got some turmoil, whatever. I think they're just flat. Just in general, there's not a lot of excitement, and Oakland's certainly not going to stir the pot to get them fired up to play. And being more than a 2-touchdown favorite, I think this is a good spot to look at an ugly duckling, in this case, Oakland. And what I find is I think Seattle's going to be, again, I think they'll be pretty flat for this game. And winless teams on the road that have lost 7 or more games are 33-11 against the spread in this exact spot. So in this case, I think Seattle is going to be sleepy-eyed. I would take Oakland with the points and have Seattle as being overvalued.
That was what I was thinking when I first saw this line come out. And, of course, we know how lethargic Seattle's been. I think they've lost 3 in a row against the spread now. One thing, though, is that I previewed this game with Justin Batt from Illuminati Sports. This guy's been kind of killing it in the NFL this year in his video, in our videos, and at his site. He's 14-8 so far in our videos. Kind of surprisingly to me, he likes Seattle to cover the 15. So take that for what it's worth. But certainly, saying that Seattle at 15 is a false favorite is not going to get much of an argument from me or from anyone else at this point. Maybe it's a little bit too obvious, though. All right, what's your second false favorite for us, Doug Upstone?
Well, instead, I'm going to go, a false favorite, we're going to say in this case, we're going to go with the top dog, and with Jacksonville at Cincinnati.
Okay.
The Jaguars are 1-7, 2-6 against the spread. And last week, they actually had an opportunity to cover against Miami, except for Blake Bortles throwing two pick sixes. Now, Cincinnati got themselves a real nice win last week against Baltimore, did a good job, and next week they have another division game at Cleveland. So in this case, I'm not sure that they're going to be real motivated, for this particular game because, NFL players don't really follow spreads, but they do know if they're underdogs or favorites for the most part, they're just not as exacting. Now, the Jacksonville defense has been better of late, especially in its front 7, and Cincinnati being a home favorite off an upset win against a division team that when they were a home underdog and having a winning record on the season, Peter, these teams are just 4-22 against the spread. So in this case, I like Jacksonville as a top dog on the road.
All right. I was thinking that way myself, Doug Upstone. I previewed that game twice with professional handicappers, one like Cincinnati, one like Jacksonville. So this will be an interesting result. Obviously, a 20-point win, 25-point win, a 30-point win by Cincinnati wouldn't shock anyone, but I'm kind of leaning with you and the capper who like Jacksonville. All right. What's your second live dog for us this week, Doug?
The second one, well, this one, actually, I don't even know if it's a live dog. I'm going to be a bit presumptuous and go, take the roller coaster ride without the seatbelt. I'm looking at Washington and Minnesota, and my presumption is that Washington will be the underdog, probably a small, probably in the 3-point to maybe 2.5-point range. We don't know at this time who the starting quarterback is going to be, so the odds makers haven't put out a line, so Robert Griffin III or Colt McCoy. But if Washington's offensive line plays with the same passion they did last week and open up the same kind of holes against a lesser defense than what Dallas has, Washington starts to be, I think, in good shape. Now, the other thing I look at is that Minnesota offensive line is not nearly as good as what Dallas's is, and Teddy Bridgewater has only started a few games. So those exotic blitz packages that we saw on Monday night could certainly have another key effect in this game. And Peter, how about those Washington cornerbacks last week? I think just covered the Dallas receivers like with a blanket. That was just awesome. So when I get up my calculator, I add all this up. I look at Washington as being, if they're presuming that they're an underdog, and I think they will be, I think they're going to be the play, and they're going to win at Minnesota outright.
All right, we'll see how all this turns out. Doug Upstone, thanks so much. Talk to you next week.
The SBR network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.